URC semi-final number 1, folks. Leinster and the Bulls. We're going to go through some stats and lineups and predictions, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how this one's going to play out. It's the Friday game at the RDS, so Leinster at home looking to head to another, well, I say another, it's the new competition, but like from the Pro 14 days, it's another final. And the Bulls looking to play spoilers. But it's certainly going to be a pretty tough ask. These sides have met once before. I had a wee look at the history, and I think it was the first game of the season for both these sides. 31-3 back in September last year, so almost an age ago when you think about things. 31-3 back in those days. 4 tries to none. 3 of the Leinster forwards plus Ross Byrne getting over the line in that one. But as I said, a lot's changed. South African teams have adapted to this competition in that time because it was a pretty hard slog in early days, but then the European teams likewise found it pretty difficult down in South Africa. But this one is in Europe, so that adds to the challenge which the Bulls guys have got to face. The Bulls finished 4th, 11-7, beat the Sharks last week in a pretty hard-fought match. The Leinster boys first on the log. And boy, did they put Glasgow to the sword last week. They seemed pretty mad about losing that Champions Cup final. So hopefully for the Bulls guys, they've kind of got that out of their system now. For the Leinster lineup, it's a pretty strong one. A lot of internationals. They've not made a lot of changes. Porter, Sheehan and Furlong, all Irish front row. McCarthy and James Ryan are the second row. James Ryan is captain for this one. Caelan Doris moves to 6 to make way for Jack Conan, who's up from the bench, number 8. And then Josh van der Flier in at number 7. So it's, I think apart from Joe McCarthy, that's an entirely Irish forward pack. And then it's an Irish 9-10 combo with Gibson-Park and Ross Byrne continuing on as well. Johnny Sexton is back in the 23 this week, but only in the number 22 jersey. Henshaw and Ringrose, all Irish midfield. Henshaw's up from the bench, so he swaps places with Ciarán Frawley. And Larmour in the back 3 is probably the main guy you'd be looking out for because he has just been in ridiculous form. Since he's come back from injury, he has absolutely got a point to prove. He's certainly giving Andy Farrell a lot to think about in case he's forgotten about him. He's giving him a few reminders that he's still around. I mean, his clean breaks, his tries, like he has just been in phenomenal form. Jimmy O'Brien's at fullback and Rory O'Loughlin is on the other wing. On the bench, like I mentioned, Sexton, Healy, Alatoa. Ryan Baird's there as well, so Seán Cronin. Yeah, it's a pretty strong-looking Leinster lineup, and that's kind of what you would expect from Leinster. For the Bulls, the starting 23 is the same 23 that played last week. Steenkamp, Grobler, and Smith as the front row. Steenkamp and Nokia in the second row. Nokia's been having a phenomenal season, but in the forward pack, I think you can't really look past Marcel Coetzee. He's at 6 and he's captain alongside Arno Botha and Elrich Lowe. I mean, I looked up the stats for the Bulls guys. Like Marcel Coetzee is the top turnover guy for the Bulls, the top tackler. I think he's even the top try scorer and top offload guy in the entire competition. So, yeah, if that guy has a good game, the Bulls will be looking one step closer. As I said, it's a tough ask, but he's the key man. Zach Berger and the hero from last week, Chris Smith, 9 and 10. Forster and Hendricks in the midfield. Tumboy, Creel, and Moodie are the back 3. Tumboy, his season stats are phenomenal as well. He's been getting clean breaks and run meters like mad. Currently, Arendse, who's also had a really good season, is back in on the bench this week. Bismarck is back on the bench. Matanzima's on the bench. Steenkamp is also back. That's Virj. Papier and Monet Stain, some experienced guys. Springboks on the bench. So, yeah. Bulls lineup, as I said, starting 15, unchanged, but a few tinkers on the bench. 6-day turnaround for the Bulls is not going to help things. They played on Saturday, and then there's the travel factor included. So I don't think there's any direct flights from Pretoria to Dublin. So I'm not sure what their travel journey was like, but it certainly doesn't do them any favors. I do remember a couple of years ago doing a video about travel for Super Rugby, back when the South Africans were still in Super Rugby, and it wasn't actually a massive factor. A lot of teams did well immediately after having travelled from New Zealand to South Africa kind of thing. So it was more home and away was a way bigger influence than the travel. Obviously, it's an extra challenge, but I don't think it'll be the difference maker in this game. You never know. But when I've looked at the numbers before, it hasn't seemed to be a decisive factor. Stats for these teams: Leinster, they are the first team for scoring tries, but the Bulls are second. So both these sides are good to get over the line. The Bulls are the top offloading side in the game, so they'll need to somehow unlock that Leinster defence. So a bit of an offload game may be the way to do it. Leinster's the top side for run meters. They do love the relentless ball carrying. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But as I said, the Leinster boys are certainly big time favourites, and especially after the way they won their game pretty emphatically last week. The bookies say Leinster by 17 points, which is it's a pretty bold prediction for a semi. Like, generally semi-finals are not won by more than 17 points, I would say. And the Rugby Forecast algorithm says 13, so a little bit more conservative. But Leinster still big-time favourites. You guys let me know what your thoughts are. Can you see the Bulls pulling off what seems like a miracle and getting an away win at Leinster? Or do you think for another year these boys are just going to be too good? We still look forward to the final, but we've got to get through this one and then the Stormers and Ulster first. We will see how things go. I'm sure Stormers and Ulster fans will be getting right behind the Bulls for this one. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.